Blake Lively might have just done herself in this battle with Justin Baldoni, although she didn't do it intentionally. It was something she said
long before she ever worked with Justin Baldoni.
Right, but there's something she said that has now been resurfaced, and it is right on the nose as far as what the issues are in her battle with Justin Baldoni.
It's really winning this war between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. The powerful smear machine is still going, but what's really crazy is this new person she hired. We got a lot to discuss.
Well, looks like Blake Lively's legal counsel didn't stick around for the meltdown. Word is she jumped ship right after Justin Baldwin's side dropped a new wave of jaw-dropping evidence. Allegedly, the second Blake's lawyer caught wind of what was about to surface. She exited the case faster than Blake could say, "It ends with us." No attorney wants to be tied to a client whose case looks more like smoke and mirrors than something built on facts. This one, it was starting to look like pure courtroom fantasy.
Into oblivion, Megan. Wait till you see this lawsuit. It's all going to be based on evidence. It's not going to be just a lawsuit. It's going to be the kind of lawsuit that is full of evidence, admissions, documents, which prove exactly what she did and how she bullied her way through the process to take.
Allegedly, Blake didn't just mislead the media. She reportedly gave false info to her own lawyer, leaving her legal team blindsided under mounting pressure. To top it off, she's said to have belittled her attorney, questioned her skills constantly, and made excuses to avoid paying. Not exactly how you treat the person fighting your legal battles. When she launched her lawsuit against Justin, with major outlets like the New York Times seemingly in her corner, she probably thought she had this in the bag. Her lawyer, Neil Koninsky, may have thought so too, until Justin's team dropped receipts that blew Blake's story apart. Public opinion flipped fast. Blake and Ryan Reynolds started taking serious heat, and behind closed doors, things crumbled. Koninsky reportedly backed out, realizing the inconsistencies couldn't survive in court. But worse than the shaky case was Blake's alleged attitude, uncooperative, disrespectful, and stingy. Her lawsuit may be shaky, but her reputation is what's truly falling apart.
William Morris's CEO, Ari Emanuel, made it seem like a moral act of loyalty, like that exists in Hollywood. He heaped praise on Ryan and Blake as soulfully beautiful people, flawless, really. He mocked Baldoni in the process. He said, it's an effed up bad situation with what Baldoni, whatever his name is doing. Now, he said Lively and Reynolds are good people. They've been in the business for decades and have never had any bad press about them, and all the people that work with them like them. Okay.
At this point, Blake's rep as Hollywood's reigning mean girl seems hard to deny. It feels like every coworker has some awkward, off-putting story about her. Old interviews keep resurfacing, showing her tossing out cutting comments or acting flat-out rude. Her career now resembles a graveyard of burned relationships. At first, her team tried to brush it off. They said she was misunderstood, quirky, or just awkward. But you can only excuse bad behavior for so long. Eventually, the act slips and the truth gets exposed. Blake's not misunderstood. She's just someone who seems to lack empathy and awareness. And that's the kind of thing you can't hide. Forever. Eventually, the world starts seeing the real you. And for Blake, that time has come.
Congrats on your little bump.
Congrats on your little bump.
What about my bump?
You've got two nice ones.
They are kind of bumps, aren't they?
No, not bumps. The lovely lady lumps. Check it out.
Thank you. Thank you. You like the movie? Are you a Woody Allen fan?
I love most of his movies, and this one was so visually amazing.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Did you guys love wearing those kind of clothes that you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And working in digital.
Everyone wants to talk about the clothes, but I wonder if they would ask the men about the clothes.
Then there's that painfully awkward interview where she was asked how she'd like fans to approach her about their stories involving SA and DV, topics they connected with through the film. Instead of giving a thoughtful reply, Blake cracked a joke about sharing their location. It wasn't clever. It was wildly inappropriate and completely tone deaf.
Most of us, if we're lucky enough to run into a celebrity in public, we only have a few moments to maybe speak with you guys. But for people who see this movie, who relate to the topics of this movie, on a deeply personal level, they're really going to want to talk to you. This movie is going to affect people, and they're going to want to tell you about their lives. So if someone understands the themes of this movie, comes across you in public, and they want to really talk to you, what's the best way for them to be able to talk to you about this? How would you recommend they go about it?
Like asking for like my address or my phone number or like my location share. Or I could just location share you, and then we could. I'm just curious about
social security number.
I'm a Virgo, so I'm like, are we talking logistics? Are we talking?
Even her co-star couldn't play it off. He visibly cringed and rolled his eyes when she made the comment. But are we surprised? This is the same woman who once called her co-stars monkeys and mocked Leighton Meester's prison birth story. Yep, Blake made jokes about it during the Gossip Girl press tour, turning someone's deeply personal past into a cheap laugh. Not a good look.
Recently saying that Leighton and I were frenemies. And it's
frenemies. Is that the new term? Frenemies?
Yeah, we're friends, but we're also enemies. And it's really strange because they always want to pit women against each other. You don't hear about like Penn and Chase hating each other and being jealous and competitive.
I think I'm just brunette because of the books.
And everyone knows blondes are nicer anyway. A moment by me.
Remember Savannah.
It was another promise was no pet monkey. Chuck has a matching pet monkey with coordinating outfits, and I was like, I would love to be part of the show, but I can't act with a monkey. And then I got a few of them. I'm just kidding. Come on, it was a joke. Lord have mercy.
Your wardrobe?
That is important. Very good. It's very important. This is wardrobe. This is wardrobe. This was on the return rack. I think it was hers. So I had to go and slip them cash.
Leighton Meester had already been open about being born in prison, so the information wasn't a secret. But Blake's decision to make it a punchline, that didn't sit right with people. As more stories surfaced, it became clear Blake allegedly had a long history of being cold to Leighton on set. The tension reportedly grew so bad, other cast members felt forced to pick sides. They may have played best friends on TV, but that off-screen vibe? Completely different. Sources say the tension may have come down to clashing personalities, Blake's loud confidence versus Leighton's quieter nature. But anyone watching their interviews could feel the chill, and it didn't stop with Gossip Girl. Reports say Blake displayed similar tactics on It Ends With Us, allegedly pressuring castmates to back her in conflicts and pushing to control the film creatively. She even supposedly tried to take over Justin Baldwin's directorial authority, demanding script changes behind his back. And then came the lawsuit. Almost instantly, eyebrows raised. A New York Times article dropped not even 24 hours later, titled, "We Can Bury Anyone." It was in-depth and strikingly one-sided. Critics began asking, had Blake been working with media beforehand? How else could such a lengthy, polished, and biased article come out so fast? Many saw it as another way Blake allegedly tried to manipulate the story and villainize Justin.
Out against the New York Times in newly obtained court documents. And I read what happened, so you don't have to. Baldonia stated that a jury must decide if the New York Times is responsible for its involvement with his ongoing legal battle against Blake Lively. In court documents filed on Friday, March 14th, Justin Baldonia stated that the New York Times has long presumed itself beyond accountability, not here, and that the New York Times went past merely reporting. He then went on that the New York Times actively vouched for the veracity of its false narrative by publishing Blake Lively's complaint in full, and that the fair report privilege that the New York Times seeks to hide behind does not protect it from liability for maliciously colluding with Lively and her cohort to publish a false and defamatory hit piece about the Wayfarer parties, wrongly casting them as villains and making them scapegoats for Lively's well-publicized media missteps. The New York Times responded in a statement to us, stating that the flaws in the Wayfarer Baldoni case were made clear last week in their own legal filing when they asked the court for yet another opportunity to amend their complaint to try and make it legally sufficient.
Something about it just didn't add up. The New York Times article...
Something felt seriously off about that New York Times article. It crossed more than a few ethical boundaries. If you've read it, you'll know exactly what I mean. From the very first paragraph, it was clear the story was slanted hard against Justin. You'd think he'd already been found guilty, the way it was written. What most people don't realize is that the lawsuit had only been filed just hours before the piece went live. That's not just reckless reporting, that's orchestrating a character hit. The wildest part? The article accused Justin of orchestrating a smear campaign. And yet, the Times didn't even bother reaching out to Justin, his partner Steve Sowitz, or anyone at Wayfarer Studios for comment. That's where journalism goes from careless to calculated, publishing serious allegations with zero balance or response. So it's no shock that Justin hit back hard. He filed a $400 million lawsuit against the Times, Blake, and Ryan, claiming they were behind a false and damaging hit piece. And if you think that article didn't leave a mark, think again. It dropped before most people had even heard about the case, shaping the entire public conversation from the get-go. Once the damage was done, everything Justin said afterward sounded like damage control. It's like accusing someone at full volume before they can speak. And don't even get me started on Blake's moves, so many red flags. Her legal filing had key texts blacked out and HR complaints with missing dates. That's not transparency. It's cherry-picking whatever makes her look like the victim and leaving out everything else.
Of these HR complaints, do you know the dates?
There's no dates. The dates are redacted. The names of the complainants are redacted, except for on one of them, there's an M. And in Blake's original, when she went to Sony, and by the way, they're not to Wayfarer Studios, Justin's company, they're to Sony, the distributor, to their HR department, and there's an M in there, which means at least one of the other ones came around the same time. If it's May, unless it was March, but probably May, same time.
And sure enough, it didn't take long for cracks to show. Once Justin started releasing behind-the-scenes videos and screenshots of messages, Blake's whole case began to unravel. Suddenly, sources claimed Blake's team was trying to set up a private meeting with Justin's lawyers to discuss a possible off-the-record settlement. After all the chaos this fight has stirred up, it seems like her side finally realized they're outmatched. Insiders say her legal reps now believe the only smart move left is to go quiet and settle before things get worse. And honestly, who can blame them? If your client had been stretching the truth and pushing a questionable story from the start, wouldn't you want out too? Maybe even cut your losses before more skeletons come tumbling out.
Look through every document, every email, every text message, listen to stories, listen to the history of what he's been through, listen to voice notes, and really try to evaluate, the strength of the defense of the case. And frankly, in this case, the strength of his claims. And like a lawyer is obligated to do, really want to make sure that I go through, as much as possible to really understand what exactly happened, or at least what it seems like.
But here's where it gets interesting. Justin Baldwin's attorney, Brian Friedman, isn't even considering a settlement. It's not an option, not part of the conversation, and not even being entertained. And the reason why? He made it crystal clear in a recent interview on the Town podcast with Matthew Baloney. According to Friedman, the damage done to Justin is way deeper than public perception. It's personal. This case hasn't just hurt Justin's career or finances. It's affected his mental health, his emotional state, and his family, including his wife and children. This isn't a PR stunt. It's not a quick lawsuit someone's trying to cash in on. It's about justice. Friedman even said, "What kind of dollar amount could possibly erase the pain these accusations caused? Is there any payout big enough to repair that level of trauma?" In his view, the only path to healing is a full court trial, where everything is laid out, both sides are heard, and a jury decides who's lying and who's abusing their power. At this point, the real surprise would be if Blake's team actually chose to keep fighting. Even Ryan Reynolds has tapped out. He's already requested to be removed from all involvement. His message couldn't be clearer. This isn't his fight, and he doesn't want to be dragged into the fallout.
Rips into Ryan Reynolds and his motion to dismiss. I was waiting for Brian Friedman's response to Ryan Reynolds now wanting out of the lawsuit, and we finally got it. Friedman told TMZ Mr. Reynolds' exploitation of his enormous power in Hollywood continues, this time arrogantly asking to be dismissed from the case despite his publicly documented involvement extending far beyond just being a supportive spouse. Mr. Reynolds was a key player in the scheme, defaming Justin around Hollywood, strong-arming WME into dropping Justin as a client and trying to destroy Justin's career however possible. He goes on to say his fingerprints have been all over the smear campaign against Justin and the Wayfarer team since day one. Mr. Reynolds now attempts to reduce plainly cognizable claims to hurt feelings, sending a clear message that bullying is acceptable. After lighting a match, Mr. Reynolds now seeks to run from the flames. It won't work. The Wayfarer party's claims against him are real and they are serious. Mr. Reynolds can appear on as many sketch shows as he wants and feebly try to make a light of his current situation, but we will not stop until he is held accountable for his actions. I love that Brian Friedman is not afraid to speak his mind, speak the truth, and I love how much he defends Justin Baldoni. Obviously, I know he's Justin's lawyer, he's getting paid probably really good money, but he really goes and fights for Justin.